Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of Game Vortex, and today I'm continuing the trend of talking about Nintendo Switch. It's been a hot item on everyone's agenda and we're not gonna ignore it. I'm gonna address one of the issues that some people called me out on, and they said that I hate Nintendo or I don't like them. To be honest, I'll tell you something. I don't hate Nintendo. I want them to succeed because we need good, strong Nintendo that does things differently. And also Nintendo with some new ideas, because if without Nintendo there's going to be just two players on the market, and that's not good for any consumer. The more competition we have, the more benefit there is for everyone. My first two consoles were for Nintendo. I bought a DS for my wife as a present, girlfriend at that time, and I also bought her a Wii later on. And yeah, but today I want to touch upon the fact of what I think Nintendo needs to do before it's too late to make sure that Nintendo Switch becomes a success in the long run. You might say, well, the pre-orders have already sold out. Yeah, but you also need to know, if you study the history of gaming in terms of artificial demand, Nintendo is a master of that. They create artificial demand, and people want the item badly, but they can't find it anywhere, so the hype machine goes on until everybody owns it, and then some even buy without even realizing why do they need that. And it worked with me with Nintendo's Wii console. I went out and bought one because I was hunting it down for like a month because everybody wanted one. Not a month, sorry, a couple of months. So yeah, that's the first thing. And apparently they only made 2 million of the consoles. By launch they will make only 2 million, so that's not a lot technically. So we'll see how that goes and how everything goes through. So here are my things that Nintendo needs to do in order to make sure that the Switch becomes a success on the market. Number one, of course, this is no particular order, but in number one I put change your marketing. If you look at the Nintendo Switch and their ridiculously underpowered console when it comes to performance comparatively to PS4 and Xbox One, which can be had for the same amount of money with a vast library of games, which Nintendo Switch doesn't have currently. So that's the problem there. For $300, sometimes even cheaper when you look at the promotions and sales, you can have a PS4 or an Xbox One that has better online functionality, better specs, better graphics, better hardware, and also, of course, better library of games that is available right now on the market. And there's more exclusives coming from PlayStation in this year alone. Horizon Zero Dawn is coming out next month. Wonderful. Persona 5, everything. Which, of course, it will come to Switch as well, but you get the idea. So, as a portable gaming system, this thing is pretty powerful. It fulfills the promise that Sony gave with the Vita, but never could deliver the actual thing. So that's very good, very, very good. But they keep marketing it as a home console first and foremost, and that is a mistake, because in a home, the home console should be powerful enough to run the latest games, and it's very underpowered in its state. It's more powerful than the Wii U, but it's just slightly more powerful than the PlayStation 3. Now, of course, you're gonna say, a lot of fanboys jump at me and say, well, I'm only buying it to play Nintendo's first-party games. And that's true, but did that help the Wii U survive on the market, just you buying their first-party games? No, it didn't. The result? They just abandoned the platform. It didn't sell. Same thing happened with the first-party support as the time went off, and third-party was pretty much non-existent after a year on the market. Now, a lot of things I can say about this here, and that leads me to number two. They need better library of games. They need it urgently. And I'm calling out fanboys and also Reggie, who said last year when the Nintendo Switch was finally delayed, they acknowledged it and they said it's not coming out because we want to give our developers and other developers more time, so when the console comes out, we'll have a lot of games on launch and a steady stream of new games throughout the year. And this is where it sounds and smells like bullshit, like real bullshit. At that time, Reggie acknowledged, you can Google it somewhere, that they understand and they learned from their mistakes on the Wii U, that third-party support was crucial and the first-party support was crucial, and the Nintendo Switch simply Nintendo's Wii U didn't simply have enough games coming out at a steady pace, and that's what they're gonna address with the Switch. And now, here I pulled up the list. I'm looking at the announced games for the Nintendo Switch that are coming out on launch, and it's literally 5 games, and three of them are basically ports from PS4 and other consoles. So this is quite ridiculous. I don't understand how that was an excuse in 2016, and now you came out late and you still don't have anything ready. So that's fix your first and third party relationship. Third party relationships is super important because Nintendo's games alone won't make this console survive. I can guarantee you one. The fanboys bought the Wii U, that didn't help it. The hardcore Nintendo guys bought the Wii U, that didn't help it at all, and it's not gonna help the Switch. Yes, it's a novelty. Everybody will want to play games on this thing. It's a novelty. Everybody wants to see this concept, but the problem here is console, no matter how sliced it, is underpowered. The guy from the Respawn came out and just laughed at the fact when they asked him if there's going to be a Titanfall 2 port on that thing. He said it's just not powerful enough to handle anything like that remotely. So number 3 here, Nintendo need to address that issue. They either need to roll truckloads of money to the third-party developers and ask them to release a very graphically inferior version of the games, third-party games, and you'll be able to play them basically maybe in an underpowered state, but at least you still be able to. GTA 5 is a good example. That's a PS3 game, an Xbox 360 game. So that means on the Switch it potentially can run if they downscale it a little bit. They can make it run. And can you imagine playing GTA 5 or GTA Online or anything like that on the Switch? That would be awesome. Come up with more developers for the current game and maybe last gen games that are super popular and ask them to make ports of those games, and also financially support them and assure them that you will continue to try to sell your units so that the install base is growing and the developers need to tag along. Financially help them to basically make an inferior version, but in terms of graphically inferior. At least it's better than having nothing. It's better to have something than having nothing. And this is the problem that they really need to address. And of course, I think it's number 3 or 4 right now, peripherals and the price of the Switch itself. They need to do something. I think as a console, Nintendo Switch is quite pricey. If they would have at least bundled a game, because they've always bundled games with their console, always. PlayStation 4 and Xbox One often bundles 1 or 2 games right now already. So they need to bundle at least one kind of a game if they want to keep this price tag of $300. Or if it's going to be a situation with like 3DS when it didn't sell and they had to drop $50 straight away off the price within a couple of months, it might happen the same here. So yeah, this is what they need to do. They need to address this issue and make sure that it's affordable. A lot of you people, not personally you, but a lot of people on the internet, I wanted to say, only have money to buy one console. And when you say that you only buy it to play Nintendo's game, well, there will be plenty of people who want to have this console, but they want to play other games as well from the third party. And when you done playing all the Nintendo stuff, which will come out scarcely on the console, spread out throughout the year or years, what happens then when you're like, oh shit, my friend is playing this game and I really want to play it, but they don't have a version for the Switch. Or I want to play this game unless my console is not powerful enough. Eventually that will happen. And they need to address that. They need to also reduce the price of peripheral. It's outrageous. It's outrageous to charge $85 for 2 Joy-Con controllers. They need to stay away from this motion stuff and just deliver good gaming. $85 for that, and the dock $90, which only has an HDMI and I think a USB output. That's it. It's a piece of plastic with 2 ports and a cable for $90. That is insane. I understand if it actually gave more power to the Switch, but it doesn't. It's just an empty box, pretty much. So yeah, people, this needs to be addressed. I just give you an example. If you want to, you know that Nintendo Switch supports up to 8 Joy-Con controllers, right? Up to 8 Joy-Con controllers. That's $240 right there. $240 if you want to have one of those parties like you see in the commercials. But trust me, nobody is going to play with 8 people looking at 6-inch screen. Nobody. That is very impractical. Nintendo has this tradition of assuming that they know what the people want, but it's not always the case, or at least it's not the case for long enough. Would you really? I mean, 2 people is bad enough staring at a 6-inch screen in a split mode. So yeah, that's a bit disappointing. But anyway, let's see. I told you right now is an example. If I want to I have 2 TVs at home and I want my wife, kids to play with me. So let's say I'm buying a Switch for $300, then I get a dock to play in the bedroom as well. So that's $90 on top, $390. Then I want to buy at least a pack or 2 more of Joy-Cons or a Pro controller. You're looking at $600 console, and that's a lot of investment for something that might not stick around for long. That's the main reason that I have here, main issue that I have with Nintendo Switch. And I hope that they find a way to address all that, because we need a strong and viable Nintendo. Also, number 5, please, God Almighty, please add the ability to voice chat and do everything that needs to be done from the Switch. They just try to justify their completely screwed up approach of having an app on the phone for you to chat and invite people and organize matches, but this is such a fucking step backwards. Why would we need that? I wouldn't want anything to do with that. I don't want to pull out my phone. I don't want to do anything with my phone. And what happened recently, I came out of the car and my Galaxy S7 dropped on the phone. The screen broke and it just leaked, leaked inside. My screen leaked, and that's it. I've sent it to the repair. It's going to take a week to replace the screen. And what am I going to do in this case if I have a Switch? How do I chat with my friends? Do I have to buy or have another device? No, this functionality should be right there. And that brings me to the 6th point as well. Online. The biggest strength of Nintendo was that they didn't charge to online, and they had a reason not to charge for it because it was flipping abysmal compared to the vastly superior Xbox Live and quite good PlayStation Plus and PlayStation PSN network. It was abysmal, those codes, those things, the way you transfer things, and that shit doesn't carry over to this stuff. And they had a reason not to charge, and now they try to charge without even proving that they can actually deliver a decent service. Because from what they promised and what they showed in that trailer and that board that they released saying what you can do and you can't do, there's nothing that tells me that I need to pay for this service. And also, if you decide to give me free games, like if you try to compete with PSN or Xbox One, then make sure at least I get to keep those games. That I at least get to keep those games. Because essentially what you're giving me is a trial version of the game, and then you're taking it away, and if I want to play it again, I'll have to buy it from you. And judging that you're charging $40 for a port from an Xbox One arcade Super Street Fighter 2, I can guarantee you that those prices are going to be outrageous too. It's like they're trying to, instead of trying to win their consumers and fans back, they're trying to milk them as much as possible for everything that they're charging, from the peripherals to the games to the ports, so on and so forth. So yeah, this is everything I had to say. Thank you very much, my dear listeners, for listening, watching, supporting this channel. Please help me grow. Subscribe to this channel, share the video if you like, comment. I was reading some comments today. I really enjoy that. Sorry I don't have an access to my phone right now because it's stuck in the repair service, but I do check my YouTube account very regularly. So yeah, thank you very much for listening, and let me know what you think about this video as well, and how are you looking on Nintendo Switch right now. Thank you, and I'll see you soon. Thank